So I'd like to introduce you to the very brilliant Dan Weller.
Musical jack of all trades, Dan Weller is an award-winning, well-respected music producer, writer and guitar player. Students here at the university filled the lecture hall to hear Dan's talk, many of which are aspiring artists and producers themselves. Having started from nothing himself, he had a lot of helpful advice to give the students, and by the end of the talk, everyone left feeling motivated to go out and create their own music. I had the chance to talk to Dan after the talk, and here's what he had to say to me.
Do you find that if you're producing music as opposed to playing music, is it a different mindset that you put yourself in?
Yeah, producing is more of it's more project management than anything. It's more kind of looking at the bigger picture. It's a completely different part of the brain. Producer's job is to, from the very beginning of a project, hear the band in the rehearsal room, hear their rough demos, through to chopping up those demos, through to developing a rapport with them, deciding what gear to use, doing all of that stuff, creating a record that you can then deliver to the label that comes out.
Do you have any tips, for maybe people who are making music or playing instruments, how to take criticism better?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, naturally as humans, as we grow up, we get better at taking criticism. I'm now equipped to deal with criticism because I've on numerous occasions been proven wrong, and the more you get to know that you're not always right, the more you're better at accepting someone else's opinion. When you first start stuff, you just assume you're right at everything. The way to sum it up is that music listeners come in all shapes and sizes with different tastes. It's a completely subjective art form. It's not just me listening to everything that I record, it's loads of people who like different stuff. So if someone passionately feels something in the studio and they stand by it, even if I think they're totally wrong, I will always go, right, there's a reason why they think that, and I've got to work out why. I assume more ideas will make something better. Simple as that.
When you were giving the talk, you talked about, you are more into pop and music like that, but you actually produce a lot of like metal and rock sort of sounds. Do you tend to find being a mixer and producer, you stick to the genre that you do? Well,
it's a really good question actually, because most people do stick to one thing. I just happen to have this bug where I want to do everything. And actually, on a business level, that's not always a good thing, because, actually I spoke about Nolly in the chat I just did. Nolly from Periphery is now just a mixer, producer like me, and we've become really good friends. Nolly and I discussed this last week, and he said his father had encouraged him to get into loads of other styles, and he said, why would I do that? I want to be good at one thing and be the best at it, so everyone comes to me for it. And it's quite enlightening for me, because I'm lucky in that I can do lots of stuff, and I can do a lot more stuff than a lot of people I know. However, if I'm looking to employ, say, a masterer or a mixer for a record I've done, I'm guilty of the same thing, in that I will always look for someone who's a specialist. And if I see a masterer who's mastered Michael Bublé and Metallica, that puts me off, because I'm like, well, what are you good at? So actually, if I could change my career trajectory and go back a bit, I would have taken on less routes. But I can't help it, because I love it, and I'm able to make a living doing it. So yeah, I don't excel at one as fast as maybe as I would have done. However, I've got lots of plates spinning, and I believe they'll all succeed to the level I consider to be successful. Therefore, I'll be more successful by the end of it. It's just a more difficult route to go down, I think.
You've been a musician, you've been a writer, you've produced, you've done everything. Can you give a quick bit of advice for people who are trying to make it as musicians, and also people who may be trying to make it as producers, just as a way of wrapping up your experience and how it can maybe help someone else?
Above all, there's loads of people that are skilled at music, and there's loads of people that are skilled at production, okay? So you're going to be competing with people at all times. That's a given, right? And I know from having had lots of interns, the one thing that separates someone that I want to employ from all the other ones is not whether they're better at a certain thing, it's whether I want to be in a room with them for days on end. Simple as that. And that goes for any industry. I would sooner employ someone that was a bit rubbish at certain things but was a total dude, and I could be like, hey, this is great, we get on so well, we're going to crack it together, as opposed to a super nerd who's brilliant but had no social skills at all. Because you're dealing in a world full of people, you have to You have to be good at keeping the peace. So I would say concentrate on being a good person, and don't be cocky or pushy. Just be yourself and let people get into you as a person, and then they will help you, because that's the way of the world. Good people help good people.
Very helpful bit of advice there from Dan at the end, and I think a lot of people will take that on board if they haven't already. This is Sophie Turner. I'm reporting for N Live, and back to the studio with Rachel Shooton.